On your table is probably one of the most important brochures if you're considering a career path in horticulture. Right here, it's called Green Careers Canada. So if you take one thing away from you today, take this away with you. One of my beefs has been, and I've taught hundreds and hundreds of students, is that for you, you have to look everywhere to find information, and it's very difficult. So over the past couple of years, and with the help of Landscape Ontario and the Canadian Nursery Landscape Association, we've been working on this website. And we've put this website together as a one-stop shopping point, not only for Ontario, but it's gone national.
I'm Paul Bridges, and I'm a landscape architect from Guelph. Current president of Landscape Ontario right now. A lot of years ago, I was sitting where you were and didn't really know where to go to find my way to figure out what I wanted to do. I had a great guidance counselor that told me about this really crazy profession called landscape architecture I'd never heard of. I was already working outside, doing all kinds of things, from maintenance to construction to lawn care, and then I got into design just because I was creative and I loved to draw. I found Landscape Ontario a lot of years ago, and I found the most incredible family outside of blood relatives I've ever met. So I work with members of LO all day, every day, who help me create the gardens that we draw, because all I do is draw. It's simple, I draw, but the team builds, but we draw, and together it creates art.
I was where you were too, wondering about a career in horticulture, and I actually distinctly remember thinking, is this the right career for me? And I just had a bit of an epiphany. I said, you know what, I'm just going to, rather than feel like I'm on a wave, I'm just going to immerse myself in this and do well. It was like a choice, and it was actually the best choice I ever made. You're here at Canada Blooms. This is year 20. We started it 20 years ago, and it was at the Toronto Congress Centre, just north of Toronto. And it was the first year, nobody had done a show like this before. So there was the first show, there was like 60,000 people. But the problem was that we couldn't hold 60,000 people in that venue. I remember looking outside the window, and there were lineups, people were shouting at each other, there were fights. I'd never seen anything like this before, right? Because they couldn't get into the show. But the minute that they got into the show, there was a beautiful garden. It was a seasonal garden. And by the time they had gone into that garden, they were quiet. It was amazing to watch. All of a sudden, they were in awe of the smells, the beauty, the flowers, and it just calmed them right down.
If you look at the number of plants in a garden, and there are quite a few, we've got grape hyacinths, we've got the ordinary hyacinths, we've got daffodils, we've got tulips, azaleas, just in that one patch. They're all real, but they all took different amounts of time to force. So each plant has a specific cold period. So these had to be tricked into thinking they had a false winter, and that's usually done in a big cooler. So there's a lot of tricks into forcing these plants, and the trees and shrubs, especially if they're flowering, are even more difficult. You actually have to mist the flowers, because you see the flowers here are very, very small on these, and they actually have to mist them as well to create humidity to get them to kind of pop for the season. Now, have you guys seen a trend in these gardens? Like a common theme?
They're like LEDs.
Well, lighting, but what else? What else have you seen?
Lots of water. That is stunning.
Water, what else? You guys were sitting on it. Look at all the chairs and stuff. So everybody's thinking of a garden now as an outdoor area, right? So kind of an extension into the living room, more so, because this is incredibly expensive.
Thank you on behalf of Landscape Ontario for joining us here at Canada Blooms. We're so pleased to be able to celebrate the opening day of Canada Blooms and the art and the craft and the science behind building these gardens. So hopefully you enjoyed today. We loved having you. I love to hear the spirit, the energy, and the passion in this room. I want to thank all the educators and Ministry of Education for making this even possible. If we could.